Check, check. Hello. Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello, hello. Check 1, 2, 3. Check. Hello, hello, check. Hello, check.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Redecon 2022. We're just waiting for some more people to join. The program will start exactly at 10 o'clock. Thank you for your patience. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy to see all of you with a lot of enthusiasm after a long time. All senior members are taking photographs. We will start the program in a while. I request all the people to please settle down. Good morning and welcome to Redecon 2022. After a long time, a lot of deliberations are happening, and also at our Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, we are very seriously discussing and implementing the sustainability issues in the construction industry. As far as possible, all of us should make sure that every day we implement certain aspects of the sustainability. Without taking much time, I welcome once again all of you, and I request the organizing committee chairman, Dr. Ajit Sabnis, to escort the president of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers India, Vijay Kesan, up to the dais. I request the organizing secretary, Rajesh Kannan, to escort the guest of honor, Meli Mujumdar, to the dais, please. And I also request all the office bearers of Bangalore Center to escort the vice presidents and other office bearers of the headquarters to the dais. Shikha Channel, Chairman, Bangalore Center. Ajit Kumar, Secretary of Bangalore Center, to escort Raj Kumar, Sandeep Shirkedkar and Vijay Vishnu Maya, R. Srinivasan, the office bearers of the headquarters of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, to the dais. The other two chief guests, Dr. Shalini Rajneesh and Dr. S. Selvakumar, may join later, depending on their free, because there is some emergency meeting with the cabinet. Now I request Srimati Anjali Ajit Kumar to do the invocation for us.
ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಗೌರಿ ತನಯ ತ್ರಿಜಗವಂದಿತನೆ ಸುಜನರ ಪೊರೆವನೆ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಪಾಶಾಂಕುಶಧರ ಪರಮ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಮೂಷಿಕವಾಹನ ಮುನಿಜನವತ್ಸ ಪಾಶಾಂಕುಶಧರ ಪರಮ ಪವಿತ್ರ ಮೂಷಿಕವಾಹನ ಮುನಿಜನವತ್ಸ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ ಮೋದದಿ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪಾದವ ತೋರೋ ಸಾಧುವಂದಿತನೇ ಮೋದದಿ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಪಾದವ ತೋರೋ ಸಾಧುವಂದಿತನೇ ಆದರದಿಂದಲೀ ಸರಸಿ ಜನಾಭ ಶ್ರೀ ಪುರಂದರ ವಿಠಲನ ದಯ ಮಾಡೋ ಗಜವದನ ಬೇಡುವೆ.
I request Ajit Kumar, Secretary of SSC Bangalore Center, to give a bouquet to his beloved wife, Anjali. Please. It's a very good sign that all our members are ably supported by their family members at our office. Especially the Bangalore Center members know that Bangalore Center is very active in the news and media, and also the national members also know that Bangalore Center is one of the dynamic center and getting best center award year after year. Now I request the dynamic chairman of Bangalore Center, Shrikant S. Chanal, to deliver the welcome address.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. Good morning. I am extremely happy to welcome all of you for this exclusive conference on this important subject of sustainable development. It is my pleasure to welcome Ms. Mili Mujumdar, Management Director, GBCI and Senior Vice President, US GBC for this conference, and I request Engineer Ajit Kumar, Dr. Ajit Sabnis to welcome Mrs. Mili Mujumdar by offering a flower. It is my pleasure to welcome our own National President, Engineer Sanabji, for this auspicious function. I request our Organization Committee Secretary, Rajesh Kannan, to welcome our President by offering a flower bouquet. I welcome our Vice President South, Engineer Rajkumar, for this function, and I request our Secretary Ajit Kumar to welcome him for the function. I also welcome Vice President West for this function, and I request P.L. Shashidhar to welcome him. Shashidhar, be here. I request Shashidhar to be on the stage. I welcome our Secretary General Vishnu Maya for this important function, and I request Shashidhar to welcome him. I also welcome Treasurer Headquarters R. Srinivasan for this function, and I request Shashidhar to welcome him also. Friends, I would like to share some of the thoughts that our association activities has made many pulses in the media, as our Dr. Ashwath sir was mentioning. Association of Consulting Civil Engineers formed in 1985 in Bangalore. Over the years, it has grown into a national body with 34 centers across the country. Association has been working towards protecting the interest of the civil engineers in particular and the society at large. Civil engineering is mother of all engineering, as all of you are aware. It has got an impact to each and everyone on every aspect of infrastructure or the building where we are sitting, or the flyovers, metros, railways, and the list goes on. We from the association have been conducting study circle meets, conferences, seminars, awareness programs, interactive programs with the government agencies and many such activities for the betterment of the society. Today's conference on sustainable development, the most important subject for all across the world, is focusing on studying sustainable living for all the living beings, both in the current stage and for the future generation. Our Dr. Sabnis is there, who is going to speak about it in length. Now, I will touch upon few of the points which the Bangalore Center is striving hard to achieve certain professional issues that are harping us. Over few decades, the public delivery system in construction industry has seen a sea change. See, earlier, the engineers, or specifically the civil engineers, used to design, prepare the DPRs, execute the works, and also to maintain the projects. But now the things are changed. It is the day of outsourcing now. Whether the preparation of DPR is required, or surveying is required, or education is required, or supervision is there, or material testings are there, or even the maintenance to some extent are being outsourced. So now the point is, where the civil engineering goes now, what we have made in the society is the brainless civil engineers in the system. They need not use their engineering at all. The system has made them, in the sense of engineering, their soul has been taken out. And only in their name the things will move on. They need not have to involve in any of the engineering activities, everything, because everything is outsourced. So it is one of the thought process I thought I can share with you. So similarly, when it comes to today's topic, the sustainability, I would like to put one small question to each and every one of you, that 70% of the greenhouse gas emissions between 1900 to 2010 were from construction alone, thanks to our Dr. Ajit Sabnis, who has kind enough to share all his knowledge. In this, 70% is the contributor of greenhouse gases from the construction, means you can imagine what is the contribution of the construction or the civil engineers to spoil this ecosystem. Now, why I am discussing this subject is, the core persons are the people who are supposed to work for the sustainable. I mean, majority of it belongs to everyone, but the majority lies with the civil engineers. When this subject lies with the civil engineers, they are supposed to lead this construction activity. Now the question comes, all the construction activities, whether civil engineering is a part of it, we have to question ourselves. You know the situation. With this, 2 points I have put for the thought process, and with this I welcome all our founder members and all of you, and I hope you will enjoy the seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Shrikant. Now I request all the dignitaries to light the lamp. the success of any event like this in a mega scale, the support of all the organizations is very, very important. I extend a special warm welcome to all the sponsors, patrons, associate patrons, and all the exhibitors for this program. In the last few years, from the Association of Consulting Civil Engineers on sustainability issues, whenever there is a major conference and activity, our Dr. Ajit Sabnis, past president of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers and also the organizing committee chairman of this event, is very actively participating and propagating the issues of resolving the issues connected to sustainability. He is very dynamic, very active, and this event is mainly responsible because of Dr. Ajit Sabnis. I request him to please brief about the national seminar on sustainability in the future.
Good morning, everybody. Respected dignitaries seated on the dais, dignitaries, speakers, invitees, honorable guests, my fellow engineers, ladies and gentlemen who are in the audience. Once again, as conference chairman and on behalf of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, I extend a very hearty welcome to one and all for this a unique event where the focus now is on sustainability. As I stand before you and then as I'm talking to you, there are 4 or 5 important things that are happening across the globe. One, as all of you are aware, COP27 is happening in Egypt, and G20 is also happening. On 15th of November, the global population touched 800 crores, that is, we touched 8 billion. And the focus also has been extremely, very high focus is given to air quality index in the present COP27 also. Now, as far as, and this is the first in COP27, that is the Conference of Parties 27 that is being held in Egypt. It's very unfortunate to see that even after 34 years, we are actually discussing the same issues in COP27. It is 34 years since the United Nations first passed its resolution on climate mitigation and then climate-related issues and climate change. And 34 years we have been discussing, and then there are some efforts, but sustainability mostly has remained as a theory, has been probably a talk amongst the intellectuals, has been a subject matter and a discussion of interest. But I think beyond that, implementation part of it has been extremely minimal. And today also we exactly talk about today's topic, the sustainable development, the future. It's not the future. Probably the most appropriate title should have been the future, and that future is now. It's inevitable. That future is now, and then that is the whole theme of this conference. And this time in the COP27, all the 195 countries which have participated, the focus is on the fossil fuel burning and the relative carbon emissions, the emissions of the greenhouse gases, etc. And please recall, few years back, it's almost after 16 years, the air quality index has been revised. You know, the PM 2.5 and then PM 10, the particulate matter 2.5, and which are 2 of the important impact gases, the indices have been changed. So these are the few indicators where we are actually experiencing, and climate change is not any future thing to come. It is already there, and then we are experiencing it. As we are all aware, Redecon has been the flagship event of ACCE. It's conducted every 2 years, once in 2 years. And every year we have a specific relevant theme for the Redecon. This year the theme has been the sustainable development, the future. Now the future, as I said, the future is now, and that is what we are actually going to discuss. Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, Bangalore Center, which is always the host of this Redecon, is a very active center, as already told by Dr. Ashwath. Under the leadership of President Vijay Sanap, ACC has grown and then probably will grow in leaps and bounds in the coming days. We already have grown from 18 to 36 in his tenure, and we have already touched about almost 9,000 plus members across the country, including the student members. Thank you, President, for that wonderful initiative and your team. This Redecon 2022 has also an added dimension. Unfortunately, we don't have the Additional Chief Secretary, Dr. Shalini, who is the head of Planning, Program Monitoring and Statistics Department, and the Principal Secretary, Dr. Selva Kumar. Both of them, and also Krishna Reddy, the Secretary PWD. All these secretaries should have been here today, but because of the global information meet and then the cabinet meetings, etc., they have just regretted their absence. They have been, the Department of Statistics and Planning and Programming have been the knowledge partners for this. Why, in what way this department is involved in Redecon or related to sustainability? The United Nations in every state, has its representation through this Department of Planning, Program Monitoring and Statistics. So every state has got what is called as SDGCC, that is Sustainability Development Goals Coordinating Center. So every state has these, and then these SDGCCs are actually representatives of United Nations Development Program in every state. And then Karnataka Vision 2030, most of you must have seen. Karnataka Vision 2030 has been drafted and then put into implementation by this department. So it is this department, it is this government part which is responsible to monitor even the sustainability development goals and the national agenda and the state agenda, whether they are aligned together, what is the progress, what is the report, all these things at state level is being done by this department, and that is why we thought that knowledge partnering with them becomes absolutely necessary. And then we actually, it was thankful, I am extremely grateful to Dr. Shalini, who immediately came forward, accepted our proposal, and we are here today as they're here today as our knowledge partners. Redecon 22, that is this particular seminar, builds its narrative on an array of issues from mitigation strategy to climate financing, and also the climate finance disclosures, climate impact disclosures. These three terminologies have become extremely important and relevant now. The business itself has to be seen, or probably has to be defined, not only just as profitability, probably business has to be defined in terms of profitability and sustainability. The terms like what exactly is climate financing, the climate impact disclosures will become absolutely necessary as we go forward. We are all designing our structures for about 50 years, 60 years, 70 years as per the code. But what exactly happens between these two, or at the end of the 70 years, unless we take care, or the codes take care those things now, at this point in time, we are actually not doing justice to the design in respect of mitigating the climate impact on our structures or our infrastructure or on our buildings. So this is absolutely, that means all our codes, all our manuals, everything, all these things, including the criteria, what we want the structures and the infrastructure development to have, all these things have to come in now, 70 years, 60 to 70 years before the end of life of building. So in the lifespan, so we need to all these, understand, strategize everything now at this point in time. So the Redecon this Redecon slightly deviates from our conventional approach. Every Redecon we had series of talks with experts, erudite scholars coming and then sharing their experiences. Absolutely, it was an awesome experience. It was a technical feast to all of us. But this particular time, we have organizing committee of Redecon. We took a conscious decision to slightly deviate and invite all those speakers who are actually extremely young. Who have converted the sustainability as the business opportunity, and they have literally transformed the principles of sustainability into the aspect of business opportunity. Because sustainability may be kind of an intellectual talk or theory for us, like us means some of the seniors, including me. But for the youngsters, for the next generation, it is not going to be just a theory, it is their bread and butter, and it is their survival. You know, it is because of these things we thought very appropriate to bring in those young entrepreneurs, young engineers who actually have got into the business, made sustainability as their bread and butter, and they're professionally getting involved into executing and implementing the aspects of diverse aspects of sustainability. We have extremely good speakers for the next 2 days. We have one speaker who is probably very young at heart. He is none other than Suresh, who is going to deliver as the keynote speaker. And I don't think anybody needs any explanation or any introduction to Suresh ji. So we are all eagerly waiting. He is one person, he will have the keynote address, and actually probably I have requested to give us the entire global perspective of what sustainability is all about. Equally, we have on the dais Mili Mujumdar ji, who is also representing the same sustainability domain, and I'm sure her talk also will enlighten us in a large way. And today, as I said, this particular seminar has been very intricately woven with two particular fabric, this thing, and two purposes it mainly has. One is actually, as I said, these young entrepreneurs who actually have converted or transformed sustainability aspects into business model. They actually will be the guiding forces, or the kind of guidelines for all the engineers, would-be engineers, and then the entrepreneurs who are sitting here, the younger generation part of it. The second aspect also is to create kind of a network platform for all the people, for all those professional practicing engineers and then practicing professionals, whether to implement it or these things, the aspects of sustainability, principles of sustainability in their projects can be actually given into these things, and then we can probably network with these speakers, professionals who actually can come and then help us in executing those things. At the end, the various topics that are going to be discussed, I'll just rush through. We are going to talk in the next 2 days. We are going to have talks on carbon credits, energy efficiency and business strategies, risk analysis and then climate impact, carbon neutrality approach in building, and then resource efficiency and energy consumption, wastewater treatment and its utilization, net zero water and ecological master planning, clean air matters, that is the indoor air quality and then outdoor air quality, waste management and then recycling, alternative materials and then passive architecture, codal provisions to achieve sustainability, building efficiency and carbon footprint reduction. And these are actually few of the topics that speakers in the next 2 days will touch upon. And at the end of the day, second day, tomorrow, at the end will be the panel discussion or a kind of retrospect, which actually has also been designed to be slightly different. And this time, we would like that entire panel discussion to be a kind of recommendatory framework for policy decision. To reach the net zero destination, we require a collective action by the policy makers in the government and all the stakeholders engaged within the construction industry. We sincerely aspire that the outcome of this seminar will help us to formulate recommendatory framework for policy decision, and this will be submitted to Government of Karnataka. And I'm sure the next 2 days, 13 speakers and then the 3 erudite speakers during the inauguration will all lead to come out with a document, necessary mandatory document that can be given to Government of Karnataka, at least which is in our purview, and through ACC, and then we can take it forward. Lastly, I know I may not get another chance to thank all those people who, with whose help without whose help this seminar would not have been possible. So first of all, I would like to thank the entire department, the additional chief secretary, the principal secretary of PWD, and all those people who have accepted and then have agreed to be knowledge partners with with us, and then all those speakers who have responded to our calls and who have made their presence felt here, and all of you from various colleges, institutions, and everybody, and especially the organizing committee of Bangalore Center who have put all this entire show together. I thank them wholeheartedly, and I wish the seminar, with all your presence and then with the cooperation and active participation, because sustainability, dear friends, has to be implemented. If we are not able to, if we do not have proper air to breathe, we do not have any other programs or any other future. With these words, let me end, and let me wish you all and the conference a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ajit, for the brief introduction about the conference, and I take this opportunity once again. Ajit mentioned the various topics, but it is my duty to mention the names and welcome all the speakers, because they are going to make this conference a memorable one. We have, as they said, Suresh Vasudevan, a very prominent member, Vice Chairman of National Building Code, and we have Sanjay Pant, you'll be joining. He is the DG of Bureau of Indian Standards. Then we have Dr. Sujit Kumar, UV Krishnamohan Rao, Rohan Parikh, Sandeep Goswami, Radhika Kaniganti, Chandrasekhar Bhatt, Gokul Srinivas, Mohan Reddy, Atul Shekhar, Arul Shekhar, and Vikas Brahmawar. I welcome all of them for this conference. And also I would like to recognize our some of the senior members who are present here, and founder members, Dr. N. Ram Prakash, Umesh B. Rao, K.R. Garudajan, Murugesan. They're all founder members of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers. Because of them, we are here today with a great membership under the present President Vijay Sanap. We also have some of the past presidents here, Dr. V.V.S. Rao, R. Sundaram, M.S. Ramaswamy, Dr. Jagdish, B.S.C. Rao, Dr. Ajit Sabnis, Sana Ratnavel, and many other senior members. We have many consultants, T.S. Gururaj, we have Samir Sudlekar, Sudarshan, all stalwarts are here today. Very happy to see all of them here, and many academic leaders, University Board of Studies Chairman, we have Dr. Balakrishna, many others are there, and very happy that all of us will make this conference a grand success. And now we have our General Secretary, Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, Vijay Vishnu Maya, a very dynamic person, and I request him to introduce our guest of honor, Madam Meli Majumdar.
Presiding officer, chief guest of today's function, dignitaries on the dais, and my dear members of the civil engineering fraternity. It gives me immense pleasure in introducing and presenting today's chief guest, Mili Majumdarji. She is a managing director of Green Business Certification Institute Private Limited, India, and a senior vice president of USGBC. In her current role, she is responsible for development, adaptation, and outreach of LEED and other sustainability rating systems of GBCI and USGBC. She leads the Lead for Cities and Communities program at global level. She is also responsible for the customer coordination, education, training, and developing market adaptation tools. She is adept in leading research programs and studies on sustainable buildings, health, well-being, and resilience. An architecture graduate, a building technology specialist, she has more than 3 decades of experience in the field of energy, environment, with a focus on sustainable development of habitats. She has worked tremendously in the sectors of green buildings, climate resilient housing, city planning, and urban transportation. She has led global teams to develop portfolio of sustainability rating systems for habitats and allied systems that have been widely accepted in India and globally. She is a member of Committee of Formation of Energy Conservation Codes for India, member of Committee of Bureau of Indian Standards for revision and updating National Building Code of India. She is a board member, Global Buildings Performance Network Paris, and a board member of GBCI India. As a sustainability expert leading India's trust towards green buildings, she has been awarded the Construction World Women for the year 2011 by ASAPP Media, Reality Plus Women Icon in Sustainability in 2021. She is widely traveled and has lectured in several national and international seminars and conferences. She is a music enthusiast and has a passion for gardening, traveling, and exploring heritage. Ladies and gentlemen, with this brief introduction, I take the great honor of presenting of today's chief guest, Mili Mojumdarji.
Thank you so much and good morning. That's a very big introduction, and so how are you today? Good morning. So I would firstly like to congratulate, the Association of Civil Engineers for bringing the agenda of sustainability at forefront of discussion in this event. And thank you so much for honoring, the community as a whole, and for honoring some, the professionals to speak to you about how important sustainability is for us, the current generation, the future. And like as I say, I am an eternal optimist, so which means that even we know that we are not doing enough, there is still hope, and still if we get together, we can certainly reach our goals, of a cleaner and a better world. So with this, some of my thoughts, I thought of starting, with a common saying which says, life comes full circle. This is a very common saying relevant to our current situation. As we are about to conclude COP27 with a renewed and invigorated agenda to go back to our roots, and primarily to nature to give us solutions. It's time for us now to reflect on where we are heading, the problems that we face, and an integrated pathway to solve. Today's topic of my discussion is primarily on buildings and the footprint that the building sector leaves over its life cycle, and how we can altogether optimize the same. Buildings per se are inanimate objects that are constructed to provide shelter and comfort to all of us. It's primarily us and we who occupy the buildings determine how much a building should consume in terms of energy, water, and how much it leaves behind in terms of the waste and the emissions produced. So to begin with, a space that we occupy is, essentially the part of a building, and it is in turn part of a large urban space. So our consumption patterns in building and how we treat our urban spaces and nature around is leading to the current climate crisis. And we have to derive solutions ourselves by deploying common sense and suitable technologies. So let's take a look at where we stand in terms of the emissions, from this particular, holistically as India. So if you look at the newly launched emissions gap report by the United Nations Environment Program in 2022, we see that the total emissions in India is third in the world. If you see, I have circled it there. However, since we accommodate a large population, we often get out, of our commitment in this whole discussion in COP or in any international agenda, because our per capita emissions is even below the global average. But, all of us who are sitting here today, and it's my personal view also, that a number game cannot let us shy away from the fact that we are the third largest consumer. So they have propped me up. It's okay, as long as you can hear me, does not matter, my slides are out there. Okay, so my flow is stopped. Anyway, let me revive. So we manage to keep our commitment controlled, but according to me, as I if you look at the further, if you look at it in detail, you will see that in percentage term, the breakup of the total emissions from the sector is comprising of three things. The indirect emissions, that is the electricity produced off-site, that is the majority of it, and as well as the direct combustion of fuel, which is about 24% on-site emissions, and the third one, where I think there's a large role to play of all of you who are sitting here, that about 18% of emissions come from utilization of major by adopting certain strategy around the urban surroundings. So if we really talk about decarbonization, and also before getting into the decarbonization dialogue, you will see that as per the UNEP report, there are, sorry, it's just moving. It's going, oh, okay. So if you look at the UNEP report that has been brought out, you will see that, we need to look at multiple pathways, and, systematic transformation is much essential, and we have to avoid constructing inefficient buildings. And if we have to achieve the Paris goals and the other goals, there are certain don't do's and there are certain must do's. So the actions to avoid are completely that we have to stop constructing inefficient buildings. We have to completely avoid new fossil fuel based gas connections, etc. We have to phase out fossil fuels. But can we really do that? I'm just shifting my focus to one small thing, that today, we are talking about decarbonization and shifting to renewable. But if you really also look at the geopolitical scenario, yesterday I was talking to, some of my colleagues, and they mentioned that in Europe, particularly in Germany, the coal-fired power plants are again getting re-energized. That's Germany is supposed to be one of the most forward-looking and advanced country in renewable energy deployment. Because of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, and the lack of gas supply that is happening, they have to kind of re-energize the inefficient and the emission-producing plants. So in this entire climate dialogue, there are certain things which are not in our control, while we keep talking the same thing over and over again. But still we have to do as much as is in our control. So if you see, again, this is an excerpt from the UN report, that there are certain things that we have to completely avoid, and certain things which are very important to bring about the transformation in the building sector. And they have been also listed out very ably in this report to talk about efficiency in the building shell, which is the envelope of the building, to scale up the zero emissions heating cooling technologies, to look at zero carbon buildings. And again, this is also something that has been projected, that if we have to meet our climate goals, we cannot afford to not be building zero carbon buildings. That's the only way forward. But again, it's easier said than done. And the fourth one here, again, which is very critical to the to all of you who are sitting here today, is minimizing the embodied emissions, which is possible through efficient structural design and use of efficient materials. So now coming back to decarbonization and the scopes of emissions that we talk about. So if we are really looking at decarbonization in the building sector, there are primarily three scopes of emissions in which, under the ambit of which, we can reduce the emissions. The scope 1 and scope 2 get into primarily building design, construction, and how we can optimize use of electricity, energy within the buildings. Or deploy maybe renewable energy systems to offset the conventional consumption practice. The scope 3 emissions directly certainly relate to, again, the embodied carbon conversation, and also a lot around, how you commute to buildings, so on and so forth. So now let us look at how, we can go in a systematic way, and what is it that I would take certain examples from the work that we are also doing in the organization. And there are, so it is just a representative sample. And here, we have Sureshji representing also IGBC, and where a lot of work is happening, and I'm sure he is going to also give other examples, as well as we are going to hear from other speakers. So if you look at the potential, of emission savings, and when I started my talk, I started that with the basic premise, or my opening comment, that life comes full circle, which means that we are again reverting back to nature to find solutions to help us save from this climate crisis. The renewed discussion around the emission saving potential in the building sector now is getting driven by a new terminology which is called sufficiency. So sufficiency is a holistic term that is helping us to look at how we can minimize our consumption, how we can minimize our needs, so that we can, whatever we build, construct, and whatever we consume, that is less carbon intensive. So after we adopt sufficiency, then certainly we look at efficiency and then renewable energy integration. So now coming specifically to definition of sufficiency. So I just thought that what do we mean by sufficiency? So the sufficiency question, fundamentally begins with what is sufficient for us. For example, if you look back few generations back, the definition of sufficiency was different. Say we used to live in joint families, and we had common spaces for interaction. The space needed was much less, hence the emissions that were produced was much less. Over the time, everybody needs a space of own and hence increased emissions. Earlier, we were comfortable studying through books in a natural environment. Now we need digital aids and conditioned spaces for studying. It's very common earlier to sleep with open windows and a ceiling fan and be comfortable. And now we are comfortable only in air-conditioned spaces. And in some cities, like from the city that I come, that is Delhi, I also additionally need an air purifier. So all of these and many more are causes of increased emissions. So the definition of sufficiency has changed, and when we talk about green buildings, we talk about reintroducing sufficiency through strategies such as adaptive comfort, passive architecture, and nature-based solutions. Let us now look at a few examples through the lens of the basic principles of green design and the LEED certification program that I'm currently representing, of how sufficiently has been deployed to save emissions, to reduce emissions at the building, community, and city scale. And in this conversation, in this context, I would also like to mention of the program that has been launched by Narendra Modi ji around, the lifestyle for environment, that also helps us to harness the sufficiency dialogue effectively in this built environment sector. So I think we should be looking out for innovative solutions, and I think there are a lot of youngsters here who should look at it holistically and put forward proposals on introducing the sufficiency conversation within the building design and construction. Now, to begin with, as I mentioned, that you can look at it at an urban scale as well as at a building scale. And when we are looking at reducing emissions from the building sector as a whole, there are so many things that you can do. So this is a diagram that represents the potential of energy savings or rather emission savings of what I mentioned earlier. So if you look at this tree, so we are looking at sufficiency, efficiency, and renewable energy. And if I break it down further, so things like daylight integration, things like having optimized wall to window area ratio, having optimum orientation, landscaping, these are very common sense principles, but these lead up to harnessing the sufficiency potential that I spoke about. Energy efficiency comes next. It should always come next to sufficiency. That can be harnessed through, use of efficient technologies, etc., controls to further bring in the efficiency dialogue. And then comes renewable energy. Now, and in LEED, we have been kind of deploying it at multiple levels, at buildings as well as city level. So, sorry, it's just going back and forth. So firstly, if I start with the urban, example. So we know that the urban temperature in cities are rising very fast, and there is a phenomenon called urban heat island that is resulting from urbanization, cutting of trees. And you would typically figure this out when you drive from an urban to a rural area. You will suddenly find a drop in the temperature. And the city temperatures are several notches higher than you would find, in a rural area which is full of plants or vegetation. So a green rating system have core strategies about reduction of urban heat island impact. In this context, I wanted to mention a study that I had, we had done in Bangalore, in the city of Bangalore a few years back when I was part of TERI, where we mapped out the urban temperatures in the urbanized areas vis-a-vis the greener areas, because Bangalore is a green city. And it was interesting for us to find that there is about 5 degrees Celsius, difference in temperature in the urbanized and the green areas. So if you can imagine a 5 degrees Celsius difference in temperature, so that 5 degrees Celsius difference also adds to the air conditioning load. So these are all cumulative impacts, which leads to higher emissions from buildings, and Then we look at strategies how to decarbonize. So the first principles first, as I say, that we have to look at sufficiency strategies, and then we looked at how we can optimize it. And we found that things like cool roof surfaces, cool roofs, green roof, etc., can actually make the building, the rooftop surface cooler by about 15 degrees Celsius. So that's humongous, that's phenomenal. If you do energy calculation, you will find that it kind of brings down the emissions by several notches. And there was another interesting fact, that we often tend to believe that if a place is densely vegetated or having a lot of trees, having a lot of canopy cover, then it will be cooler, as much cool in daytime as in the nighttime. But it's not that. The heat needs to also escape out and be re-radiated back into the atmosphere. So this was an interesting finding also in Bangalore. Well, we found that where the canopy areas are large and the distance between the trees is minimum, there the night temperature was much higher. So which means that again that leads to the nighttime cooling needs being higher. And so these are some of the strategies that are looked in a holistic way when we talk about green buildings or green, certification programs. In LEED, we do have a program around cities and buildings. So this is one of the LEED Platinum certified projects that we have, where urban agriculture has been put in place to address the urban heat island impact. The next one is an example from the from a building in New York, which is the Cook Fox Architects Office building, which has a green roof. Again, this is a great temperature moderator. The following one, being from a city again, which is a LEED certified city. So this particular city, it's interesting that, we were trying to promote green spaces, but then this city was water starved. So when you're looking at urban heat island minimization, you have to look at strategies that you cannot have more plantation and ask for more water demand. So this city, which is the Albuquerque city in the United States, that met the green space requirement to mitigate urban heat island, but using native species. So in grain rating system, you also look at, in a holistic and an integrated way of urban solutions. And another, example of using a green roof, which again mitigates urban heat island and also provides interesting spaces for social interaction. So there are many examples, I can go on. But again, one thing I just wanted to point out, that many of these strategies do not suffice or do not address a single problem. There are multiple things that one particular strategy or a solution can offer. If you talk about UHI reduction through efficient, greening of spaces and urban areas, then that also helps you with another important component, which is a green infrastructure. We know that in Bangalore, there has been immense amount of urban flooding, and if you do a root cause analysis of that, you will find that that is because we have filled up the lakes here and rampant urbanization, which resulted in two things: increased urban temperature and flooding, and hence, the city infrastructure got choked. So if at a city level, if we can do an efficient planning that addresses urban heat island and also that duplicates as a green infrastructure, then we can mitigate both the risks of UHI as well as urban flooding. And that certainly offers a, more holistic, a resilient and a, kind of carbon sensitive solution. So, and in green certification program, we certainly look at these strategies in a holistic way. Now, the next principle of sufficiency, which is around passive architecture. Here, the basic approach which architects adopt for passive architecture is to design for the climate. India has 5 climate zones, many of us know. So what you essentially build for, say, in the cold climate of Leh Ladakh is not what you would build for in the moderate climate of Bangalore. So climate responsive strategies, again, offered you this kind of, sufficiency options to be adopted at the initial stage of planning. There are certain additional things which we look at, and when I showed you the UNEP consideration, and when I said that building envelope is also one first critical aspects, and these are again the basic principles: optimizing orientation of the building and figuring out which is the best orientation that offers cooling load optimization in hot climate, or least heating load in a cold climate should be again promoted as the first principle, and LEED as well as all other rating systems do offer that solution. Further analysis can be done in a building level to optimize the window to wall area ratios. However, it is obvious that when we design windows, windows again offer multiple purposes. Like I spoke about urban green spaces offering green infrastructure as well as urban heat island mitigation. Again, windows have multiple purposes. So it is obvious, and it's obvious that if you lower a glass area, your cooling load will go down. But the decision on window to wall area ratio is dependent on another critical variable, which is daylight. And daylight again offers this, brings into forefront how you can bring the sufficiency dialogue into the core of the building design. So window to wall area ratio and choice of high performance glass is decided based on cost, daylighting, energy consumption, and the overall cooling load, and of course, the overall aesthetic look of the building. So LEED and other rating system encourages you to look at impacts of multiple design decisions in an integrated way and help you towards decarbonization. It allows you to do this critical analysis. Say this is an example of how you determine, comfort hours in a building, in a green building. Because if you talk about reducing your consumption, reducing your energy load, you should not leave aside the other aspect, which is comfort. Because any space, what I said, is provided or built to offer you the visual and the thermal comfort. You are sitting in this space, if you are feeling warm and hot, you will not listen to me. So energy efficiency is not at the cost of the comfort. So when you may take this design, but then you should provide comfort at minimum energy cost and consumption. So green design allows you to do that. Say, this looks a little complex, but let me explain to you what this particular slide means. It is a 3D exploded axonometric view of 4 floors of a building. And here, the comfort hours are represented as percentage where a point in space meets or exceeds a given set of thermal comfort acceptability criteria. There are 2 options. One is here a base case with a window to wall area ratio of 90% and other with a 45% window to wall area ratio. So you will see that the comfort hours, vary in these 2 designs. And as an architect, as a civil engineer, you do this analysis to arrive at your acceptable comfort criteria, but with minimum energy consumption and hence lower emissions. In addition to this, through shading device optimization also, we can reduce a lot of energy consumption and hence carbon. And here we do see several innovative shading device design around the globe. For example, on the right-hand side, it's the facade of a LEED certified building, which is the MIST building in the Masdar city of Abu Dhabi, which is designed by Norman Foster. It is designed in the hot climate, and it's designed to protect spaces from getting direct and harsh sun. So the energy efficiency dialogue, the sufficiency dialogue then gets followed by the efficiency dialogue. And again, LEED has several credits or points in place which drives the efficiency conversation. So the efficiency conversation is driven by, choice of efficient, say lighting, air conditioning and other systems. And if you do an effective, so what's the potential? And if you do an effective sufficiency and efficiency design, we have seen that the potential of saving energy is up to maybe 70-75% in comparison to the conventional design. We often hear that from many people, many developers, that we have put solar energy and hence we are green. But that is not correct. Firstly, you should address these 2 first principles, bring down the consumption, bring down the emissions, and then deploy renewable energy technologies to get to the next level of decarbonization. In India, we do have the Energy Conservation Building Code. We also have the ENS, which is again the energy code that has been developed for the residential sector by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. And as I speak now, the Bureau of Energy Efficiency is also bringing out a comprehensive code that will cover not only the energy conservation aspect, but also include the other green aspects. So we are going to have that soon as an integrated approach towards addressing sustainability. So after these two, then certainly, we will move to the renewable energy discussion. Before that, one example. This is the Daikin Technology Center, where, in Japan, where through effective daylight integration, architectural principle integration, they have been able to arrive at a zero energy building. Today, the conversation around zero energy building focuses primarily on deployment of energy efficiency, deployment of renewable energy. But if you really look at good designs which have been effectively been able to be net zero, they first reduce their base load by integration of these principles, and then it's much easier. And this is a very good example that is certified again to LEED Platinum standard. Now, on the renewable energy side, again, LEED has been working, at city as well as building level. And there are several examples. This is from the United States, the Peter Cooper Village, which has a very high amount of renewable energy integration. And in India also, there are several examples. For cities, communities, we do not have much examples from India, from LEED. So I have put an example from US here. This is the University of Genoa, Savona campus in Italy, deployment of renewable energy technology at a building level. And now coming to the net zero conversation, we are talking about zero energy building. This is one of the first LEED zero building, again in US, and it was a retrofit project. So it was very interesting for us that and we went and spoke with the building operators that how did you really arrive at a zero energy building? What were your bottlenecks? It's easy to say, but then when it comes to implementation, there are a lot of challenges. So, what they said was very interesting, that they did deploy the demand side minimization, etc. And one very important aspect was that the people who occupy a passive building or an efficient building, they have to be active. That is very important. Because as an architect, as a designer, you may construct the best of building, but if your building operator does not know it, they do not know how to operate the controls, they do not know how to use the building to arrive at that net zero consumption, then you can never achieve that. So this building has a lot of, education that they have given to the occupants, focused a lot on the occupant behavior to make it not only net zero at design, but also at operation. And I would come to another, this is, please don't take me wrong, I don't want to criticize. This is also one of the largest net zero, and it's a LEED Platinum building. It is Griha 5-star. I'm sure it's also IGBC Platinum. So, and it was designed to a very, very low consumption level and a net zero building. So I do happen to visit this building for several purposes. Then I saw that there were several strategies that were deployed at the design stage to make it net zero. For example, one of the simple thing was that when a senior officer leaves the room, there would be a daylight sensor to switch off the lights. Incidentally, I walked into one of the senior officers' room one day and I found that the sensor was bypassed and all the lights were on. And you could even visibly not see those lights because there was ample daylight by design. So the occupant behavior is very critical. Another thing which I noticed, because this is a government building, and there was a legacy, like there were a lot of this, big steel almiras that came from the earlier building, and since it was not planned for, so they were put in front of multiple, windows. So the windows were blocked with the huge, ugly-looking steel almiras. So the daylight integration part completely went away. So I'm very curious now that this building was designed to be net zero. how much it is consuming. If anybody can give me the number, I'll be very happy, you know, to see. So we can talk enough, but implement it, and if we do not operate it in that way, we can never achieve decarbonization. It's very important, you know. The final part of my dialogue today is the embodied carbon, which I said is the 18% of the consumption that we are talking of in the whole cycle of emissions. So in a green building design and you know, particularly in LEED, we look at different ways of embodied carbon reduction. Sorry. By reducing by helping, you know, projects to we encourage projects to reuse their existing shell. We encourage projects to reduce embodied energy consumption through reducing material quantities, using of lightweight materials, efficient structural design, then select construction material with low carbon footprint than conventional materials. So there is a lot of work that can be done here, but this is an area which has very less of data and information, and I hope, you know, this particular community can put together some white paper or examples, because this is an area that has been very largely, you know, ignored out of that, and this is part of the scope 3 emissions. Usually when we try and quantify and put together emissions, we take into account scope 1 and scope 2. Now in the renewed dialogue in green rating, we are talking about being inclusive of scope 3. So my suggestion would be this. So I would you know, like to end here with a lot of hope that, you know, we will be able to pursue the sufficiency, efficiency and renewable goals towards decarbonization by addressing all 3 scopes of emissions with collective efforts, enthusiasm, and, you know, the hope that we build for our future with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for an elaborate overview that you have given. The next task is to release the souvenir. I request all the dignitaries, president and guest of honor to release the souvenir. The souvenir committee, I'm heading the committee, and Girish, C.V. Srinivas, Bharati Ganesh and Anil Kumar Pillai. If they are here, please join on this stage. The detailed presentations of all the speakers with their permissions will be uploaded into the website later. Now, as Ajit was mentioning, the dynamic president of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, Vijay K. Senap, during the last 1.5 years, lot of young blood has come into the association and lot of membership has happened. The major strength of any organization is its membership. So we have a lot of members from various parts of the country today, and a special thanks and welcome to all those who have come from different parts of the country for this Redecon. Once again, I request the president to... Okay. Okay, we have vice presidents and here. I request Vice President South Rajkumar to say a few words before the presidential address by Vijay.
Very good morning. Respected President of SCC India and the Organizing Committee Chairman, Ajit ji, and today's guest of honor, Mili ji, and all the dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and the members, founders, past presidents, the fraternity members, the press and media. It is indeed a great pleasure to all of us to be here for a Redecon. It is every time a waiting event for all of us in the ACCE, that which Bengaluru Center conducts. And the theme for the future, sustainability in the future. It is now a buzzword. And a buzzword is only in the word stage. It is now. It is not to be in the implemented stage for a 100%. So this is a deliberations and the recommendations to be given to the governments, as well as the practice to be practiced by all of us to make our sustainable world. And all things what we are seeing today are from the old traditions what we practiced since ages as the conservations and the sustainability. That practices we have to redo it again. And today advancement in technology as well as the uses of the technology to the core is making all of us to go haywire in some areas. And COP27 definitely it is working on different areas now. The air quality and the only 1.5 degrees of temperature which is going to be risen by next 20 to 30 years, which may submerge the most of the nations in the islands of this planet. So there is a lot of thinking is going on. We need to take active part in the recommendations as well as I urge the governments to involve all the technocrats who are working for it and make it as a possible world. Otherwise it's very difficult. What we are seeing today is only a talking is happening last 15-20 years. Now the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030, which is to be attained by all the countries, member countries of the UN, now they are all reached only meager 10 to 30% in various countries, including India. Dear friends, we need to have a retrospection now where we are heading and how we can give a better future for our future generations to come. And with this Redecon, all of us may learn some things and take home some things and practice, and let us make this world more sustainable, and wishing you all a great learning, and thank you very much.
Now I request Sandeep Shirketkar, Vice President West, to say a few words.
Good morning, dignitaries on the dais and my dear friends. I welcome you all for this Redecon. A very specific and very meticulous work has been done to reach to this stage. I thank the chairman of organizing committee, Ajit Sabnis and his team, for coming out with a theme which is certainly a need of time, which is a very buzzing word. And the important thing which I liked about selection of speakers, as he said, the speakers are from practice, are from industry, not academicians. We have discussed many theories about sustainability, but today through this seminar we'll be discussing about the practical implementation of those things. The inauguration was very apt, very befitting to the theme and to the efforts which has been taken by the ACC headquarters as well as Bangalore Center. I appreciate the presentation done by Honorable Chief Guest Mili Muzumdar-ji. Very befitting for this occasion and a very best presentation to my opinion, the animated one, which certainly has transformed the message very effectively. The topics which has been selected for this conference are very, very true and need of time. Like I'm working in a water sector, a lot of things have to be done. The rainfall intensities are changing. The rate of percolation is reducing. Groundwater availability is a challenge through entire country or entire world. So we together, we need to address those challenges, not only to get the water, but also to utilize the existing water effectively, which has also been covered through the various themes of this conference. I really appreciate that. Air quality is also one of the challenges which has been covered under various themes of this conference. That is very good. Advancement of technology, we as a civil engineer, we as a technocrats are required to adopt a technology which can produce a sustainable environment, sustainable development for us. The technologies are changing. We should try to use the best possible technologies which are available. I also represent an industry called as surveying and mapping. Now the LIDAR technology, drone technology is very common, very popular. Now it's up to us with the technocrat to use these technologies for the benefit of the infrastructure development of this nation and of this world. So the events of such a stature, such a nature certainly gives an opportunity to understand what exactly is happening around the world. And rightly said by Ajit Sabnis sir, future is today. And that is why we are here. And I'm sure this conference and this event certainly will take out some things which we can very well implement from this day onward. There is a representation of entire country. To my opinion, almost 70% of the states are being represented here on this platform. And I'm sure the message through this conference will percolate through this entire country. And together we will move towards sustainable development. So I thank organizers for inviting me here, and I also thank the organizers for conducting an event with this theme of sustainability, the future. Thank you.
Now I request Engineer Vijay Sanap for the presidential address.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's elevate your energy. Dignitaries on the dais, founders of the association, past presidents of the association, office bearers of various centers, and my dear friends. Sustainability, the ability to sustain. What a theme. I really congratulate the Bangalore Center and the entire organizing team from deviating from their every year's agenda and getting here at the sustainability. Every time we listen this word, sustainability, sustainable development, and we forget it. My dear friends, it's now time to act, set goals. UN has already set a goal in 2015, the 17 goals. 193 or 195 countries have participated in that. Now they are monitoring every year. And my dear friends, India is not doing that well on many fronts. There is an area of concern for all of us. The climate change is a big issue. Rising water levels, as said by earlier speakers, is a concern. Most of the countries are going to be vanished from the world map. There are a lot of concerns like heavy rainfalls. The intensity is going to be higher. The number of rainy days are going to be reduced. And we need to be ready for these challenges. Most of the cities in India now are under flood because the infrastructure is not ready for that. Even in the building industry, the kind of building we are constructing, we totally forget the environment. Many of the project doesn't even consider the amount of sunlight that should come or enter into the building. We are into a commercial world, but still we have borrowed this earth from our future generations, and we should really, really care for the future generations. Now, talking about the sustainability, let's talk about the sustainability of the association. When we took over as a principal office bearers of this association, we set some goals. and now we are acting on that. The two main goals were the membership and the new centers. And we have decided to double the membership strength, and we have decided to double the number of centers. Now, in past few months, we have already added more than 10 centers, and now we are planning to add 21 new centers to the association. We are going to have centers where we didn't have a presence. Very soon, the Bhubaneswar Center will be a reality. Most of the existing centers are forming the centers around their own territory. Most of the centers from different states are taking efforts to form a center in a different state altogether. Very soon, we are going to have a Navi Mumbai center in Maharashtra. Very soon, we are going to have a Raipur center in Chhattisgarh. We are going to add few more centers in Madhya Pradesh as well. We are going to add few centers in Tamil Nadu, few of them in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and Kerala as well, because we are entering very soon into Kerala. Then we are going to have some 9 new centers in Maharashtra, which need to be inaugurated shortly. My dear friends, we need to set targets and we need to evaluate those targets, set new goals, and achieve these goals, targets in coming future. On the similar fronts, we also need to be very alert on the goals which have been set on the sustainability front. The sustainable development has to be there, otherwise we are going to lose the entire humankind in coming years. This particular conference at Bangalore is going to set a new trend, new goals, new aspirations for all of us. Let's unlearn, learn and relearn about the sustainability for 2 days. Wish you all the best, and I also wish all the success for this event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President. The Association of Consulting Civil Engineers India at the national level working very hard from many years to get our engineers bill long pending. Maybe all of us hope in the near future it will realize. And at the same time, Bangalore Center is very actively coordinating with these government bodies to have a special Professional Civil Engineers Act. You can see a line there. Maybe at the state level also there will be a Professional Civil Engineers Act shortly. All of us join together and convince the authorities, local bodies to have the act and also implement national building code as it is, so that all of us will have comfortable play in the profession. And the opportunities and challenges in the sustainability, the next today and tomorrow you will also find the ways of doing profession, practice, and also lot of challenges, and all these challenges will create lot of opportunities for all of us. So that is one of the major takeaway from this program. Now the next part of the program is to recognize the support of all the patrons, gold sponsors, silver sponsors, bronze sponsors, and supporting organizations. I request all the representatives to come to the front. I'll read out the names. Ultratech Cement Limited is our patron. I request them to come and take the recognition on the dais. We have many stalwarts from Ultratech. Anybody can come, and all of them can also come. I recognize, okay, Dr. Ramchandra is there. I think they're all, yeah, please, your name? Yeah, please. We have Zonal Head Technical, Mr. John. Thank you for your support. Fosrock Chemicals India Private Limited, Nikita Build Tech Private Limited, Pulkit Metals. Please come to the front. Thank you. Please continue to support all our activities. Yeah. Gold sponsor, Fosrock Chemicals India Private Limited. Fosrock. Mrs. Nikita Buildtech Private Limited, our gold sponsors. Next is Pulkit Metals. Pulkit Metals. Okay, we'll move on to silver sponsors. Infra Market. Representatives from Infra Market. Yeah. Next is the groundwater company, Normet India Private Limited. Please come to the front. We have Dr. Raghavendra from Infra Market. The groundwater company, Normet India. Turnkey Construction Engineers. Yeah, our own colleague, Dr. Vidyasankar. Vidyasankar Vaskare. Next, Shapurji Polonji and Company Private Limited. Next is RM Consultants, Rapsri Engineering after that, INSEE Retrofit after that, and JMC Projects. Please come to the front. RM Consultants. Thank you. Rapsri Engineering Industries Limited. Next okay, next is INSEE Retrofit. The organizing secretary himself represents INSEE Retrofit. Please supporting like this. All the organizing committee members also support financially to the organization. Next is JMC Projects. इधर है JMC. Next is Rapsri Engineering Industries Limited. ACC BLC is very fortunate to have supporters for our Redecon. From the beginning till today, we have not faced any problem. We get good support and encouragement from the industry for conducting this event. Now the organizing team of Bangalore Center and Redecon is having a special felicitation for the founder members and past presidents of ACC. It is our privilege and a great moment for all of us. I request all the founder members, Dr. N. Ramprakash, Umesh B. Rao, K.R. Garudwajan, and M. Murugeshan. I think all of them are here. I request the Bangalore Center members to escort all of them to the dais, please. Okay. The past presidents, Dr. V.V.S. Rao, R. Sundaram, M.S. Ramaswamy, Dr. R. Jagdish, B.S.C. Rao, Dr. Ajit Sabnis, Sana Ratnavel, and myself. So they are also recognizing numbers. I request all of them to please come onto the dais. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀರಾ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ We missed BSC Rao. I think he was sitting there. Somebody can just check him out. Okay. Now I request the President and organizing team members to felicitate the Chief Guest of Honor, Madam Milin Mujumdar. All the members can join. What of thanks in the Okay. Now I request Engineer Rajesh Kannan, Secretary Organizing Committee, to do the vote of thanks. And then we'll have the national anthem. Please wait.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good morning to everybody. I said good morning because still 12 noon has not happened. At the outset, it gives me great pleasure to see you all here, and thank you very much for the same, being here and encouraging us year on year on the events of Redecon. Let me congratulate the whole team which worked under the conference chairman, Dr. Ajit Sabnis. Give a big round of applause. Thank you, sir. Even though chief guest and guest of honor is absent due to sudden engagements called by Chief Minister, I thank them wholeheartedly for the support and then permitting us to use the logo of Government of Karnataka. Yeah. A small break. Our engineer B.S.C. Rao was not available during the felicitation of past president. I request you to please come on the dais and receive the memento.
Always a special recognition is required to this special person. The man who started Redecon series, the first Redecon was initiated by B.S.C. Rao. Is also past president of ACC. I request him to accept the felicitation.
Thank you, sir. He is the pioneer who introduced Redecon to Bangalore. I thank today guest of honor, in turn elevated to chief guest, Madam Milind Majumdarji, being here and given a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Madam. I thank our ACC's Honorable President who presided our function, Engineer Vijay Sanap, who has flown from Nashik and be with us. Thank you, sir. Thank you for gracing the function. My sincere thanks to our friend, Vice President South, Dr. Sandeep, Vice President West, Engineer Rajkumar. South Rajkumar and West Sandeep. And then Secretary General Mayaji, who has come from Mangalore to be with us, and Treasurer R. Srinivasan. I thank all the office bearers and members who have come from various centers. We have 34 centers as on date. Out of that, 22 center people have been present here. It's a big achievement for Bangalore Center to get all those guests here. I'll read out the names of the center for your information. Hassan, Mysore, Mangalore, Davangere, Beltangadi, Erode, Coimbatore, Chennai, Madurai, Kanyakumari, Hyderabad, Karimnagar, Rajamundry, Nagpur, Nashik, Palghar, Chandwar, Sangamer, Akola, Tirupati, and Pondicherry and Hubli. So many center people have come and encouraged us. Thank you all for being with us today. We will ensure that other left-out center also will be there in the future Redecon. The backbone of the program, sponsors and exhibitors, I thank you all who come forward and associated with us in this program. Thank you. I thank all the 12 speakers who consented to deliver lectures today and tomorrow and going to enlighten us regarding the role of paternity in sustainable development, how the future is going to be. Thank you all the speakers. I thank from my bottom of my heart our gurus I can say, plural, of ACC, past presidents and founder members who is available here. With your great blessings, this Redecon is happening. Thank you all being with us. I also take the opportunity to convey my sincere thanks to all the committee chairmen and their team who worked hard for the last 4 to 5 months in making this program a grand event and successful one. Please, big round of applause. Encourage them. My special thanks to ACC office staff, Sri Annegowda, Dikshita, Egambaram, and Venkatesh, who stood by us to make this program a successful one. Thank you. Thanks to all delegates, students, faculties, volunteers, media partners, associate partners, AV partners, and catering partners. And thank you, Dr. Ashwath, for comparing this program wonderfully. And thank you all once again. Thank you. Namaskara.
Friends, It is none other than Engineer Rajesh Khannan, who meticulously stood behind this in arranging all this event. To tell you frankly, I am here because of his support. And all my activities behind the scene, he is there. Thank you very much, Rajesh Khannan ji. Thank you.
The office bearers of headquarters are here. Mementos are there for them. Rajesh missed it. I request Bangalore Center office bearers to please give the mementos to the president. President Vijay Sanap. Then we have Vice President South Rajkumar, Vice President West Sandeep Shirkedkar, Treasurer R. Srinivasan, Secretary General Vijay Vishnu Maya, once again, thank all the HQ office bearers for the excellent support and directions and guidance for the Bangalore Center. Now we have the national anthem. After that inauguration of the exhibition, I request all of you to please rise for the national anthem. गणमनाधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल वंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलसि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जाहे तव शुभ आशीष माहे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हे Thank you. Now there is a group photo of all the organizing committee members. Please quickly come to the dais and exhibition inauguration. All of you please take a break and immediately come back for the keynote address by Suresh sir.
Dear friends, please let us make sure that we assemble back here at exactly 12. Let us not miss the two wonderful talks and lectures what we have immediately after lunch. Just before lunch. One is the keynote address from Suresh, and then the other one is from Sujit, architect Sujit. Thank you.
Redecon team requests the past presidents also to join for the photograph. Founder members and past presidents. Umesh Rao sir, please come. All the organizing committee members, please come to the dais for the group photograph. Vasuraj sir, Nagendra Kumar sir. Please come. D. Ranganath, Gurraj sir, M.N. Ramesh, Rajmane sir, please come.
ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಒಂದೇ ನಿಮಿಷ